And finally, the Rose Quartz for our last card. So we're going to start off with door to personal healing and happiness. So doors opening for you, unconditional love, peace. I love the lotus flowers. They're a sign of prosperity. I feel like with the water, again, like your cup runneth. I feel very sanctuary. I feel like you're probably an outdoor person. This is, you know what I mean? Maybe you're heading into spring like myself. We're in spring, but it's like, 6 months of winter here. Oh, let me pull this back a little bit more. Hopefully I don't drop you. There we go. And this is just like a sign of like opportunities coming into you, like with the star card of time of peace and opportunity, like doors shutting behind you, you're leaving that behind as you enter into a new door. They talk about leading to the sun, and it's just like this is what you're going towards, unconditional love. This could be unconditional love for yourself. Here we go again, another opportunity. So this is something you're not going to have to work for. This is just being handed to you. Hold out your hands to receive. Ask and you shall receive. Put your energy into where you want it to, you know what I mean? Look at that twice. Receive, receive. Double amplified the power. I wanted to pull from a different deck because I was just like, my astrology answers is my go-to when it comes to strong messages. Point plain simple. You don't have to get their deck. Quite frankly, it's overpriced. I'll be 100%. I got bent cards in it. You know what I mean? So you could go to Temu. AliExpress has never done me wrong. You pay like $20 for the deck, but it's just like, I got the golden foiled tarot cards for that much. You know what I mean? This is a beautiful deck. AliExpress, I'm pretty sure that Temu sells it. They're probably the same. But what is it? I think this deck, I'm not 100% sure because I didn't buy it from off of there. I actually bought it from Astrology Answers. I believe they're $10 on there. I would have to go check. I haven't bought not a basic deck, but traditional deck in a while. So, but I feel like this is what they're saying. Like this is opportunities you're not gonna have to work for this because it's just like you're putting the work in where you want to see your life grow. You know what I mean? I was talking about I believe it was pile 1. It's just like, with myself, like when the first, like I had someone that was, would read for me and she was doing a live and I just started getting channel messages during her live. So anytime she did a live, I would sit there and bring paper with me. So we were talking about like, if you follow my channel, you see like synchronicity was the first thing I posted for today. And you will see it's like being open to communication, being open, with myself, I put, I got myself a clipboard. And so that way, like, when I'm writing, it's like, on something sturdy. It looks like chicken writing most of the time. It looks like Shane's handwriting when I'm writing. Like, I'm not going to even lie. But I'm half asleep. And he'll sit there, like, my girlfriend Laura, we're very close. We talk daily, and it's just like, I'll sit there and I'm like, woke up to like spelling her name. And I'm just like, and they were telling me stuff about her. And I completely forgot. And then she messaged me. I'm like, oh my God, I got to tell you about this. You know what I mean? So it's like, being open to that, I was saying it may sound crazy, but it's like, if you're someone that's drawn to nature, it's like, what are the birds trying to tell you? I know that's going to sound so crazy, but it's just like, if you're open to spirit and you've been doing this for a while, it's like, they will find new ways and forms of communication. And I know that's going to sound crazy. Someone actually posted on my YouTube channel, oh, I can vouch that, she suffers from mental illness. And I'm like, really? Why don't you show me your real name and you can tell me who you are and how you can vouch for my mental illness? You know what I mean? It's like, you can say whatever you want about me, but, the people that I've read for, no, you know what I mean? That's all I'm going to say. The people that keep coming back to me, that have been coming to me for years, no. Things that I know that I shouldn't know, personal, private things, they know. So we're talking about a new beginning here. This is all what the star card is about. Balancing the emotions while staying grounded. We're overthinking. You probably catch yourself overthinking, and it's just like, what? In my journey, I can honestly say there's been these big amounts of money that come into my life in certain parts of my life. Not all money is good money. You know what I mean? So it's just like, but Spirit, God, Yahweh, Yeshua, for me, that's what I'm going to say. I just don't want to offend anyone or try to push my beliefs on anyone. I'm definitely not trying to do that. But it's like, you will see, like, how they will sit there. You look on your life, the cycles, you have money cycles. And it's just like, learn to sit there and use it properly. If you were drawn to pile 2, you will see where they're saying like we're using your hands to help bless others. You're a vessel. You know what I mean? So with this, we got 2 angel cards. So they're saying be patient. You know what I mean? I feel like you put a lot of hard work into, this could be you pouring, your energy into what you're doing. You know what I mean? And this is where Spirit is like, you got to find that balance between work and life. Sometimes it's hard. But they're saying being patient. You know what I mean? And look where she's watering her garden. They're saying the grass is only greener where you water it. You can't sit there, lay in bed, and like, oh, I want to meet the love of my life. Where are you going to meet him? In your dreams? You know what I mean? You keep dreaming about the love of your life, but how are you going to meet him if you're laying in bed all the time? You know what I mean? If you were going to sit there and pour into anyone's cup, pour into yourself. You know what I mean? Even if it's a hard day. Like I know sometimes I'll wake up with a horrible headache. You know what I mean? And it's just like, still get yourself out of bed. I know sometimes we got to lay there because I know with me, sometimes I get really sensitive to light. So it's just like, sit there and just be kind to yourself. Make sure you're drinking your water. Make sure you're trying to get the best sleep as possible. Yes, it's easy to go on TikTok, and trust me, I've gone down that rabbit hole where I'm scrolling for hours. It is so easy. But you got to remember, you need that rest and rejuvenation, especially if you have to get up the next morning and do a bunch of stuff. I know with myself, yeah, I get, especially on Friday morning, because I work till 2 a.m. on Friday. And it's just like, it's my weekend. I don't want to go to sleep right away, but it's like, especially if I have to get up really early, like at 7 and do something, it's like, you're going to be a grouch. Go to bed, at least get a couple hours of sleep, and then get up, do what you need to do. Maybe you'll nap in the afternoon, but I feel like this is being patient as these opportunities come in, as this comes in. It's not going to happen right away. All of us are impatient, and I know especially with myself because I'm like, in my mid 40s now, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like I'm 44, like, how is this going to happen? It's not for me to know. It's already figured out. They already seen that I'm a hard worker, it's just like, let it flow. You know what I mean? Certain paths have happened, certain things have transpired. I'm just like, oh my gosh, look at that 5 years. Like I could have done this. But it's brought me to where I was supposed to be. I'm not going to be able to clear cognizance. I hope I said that right. Pay attention to your thoughts, ideas that come to you. They are answered prayers. This kind of goes back to brilliant idea from the second pile. Come sit over here. This whole spot is open. He just likes being on videos, I'm telling you. But come sit here. There you go. Was that so hard? But I feel like, I love the fact, like, this, it's kind of like a rainbow action. It's a shooting star, but it looks like a rainbow to me. But, I feel like that, is it Columbia? The movie makers, and they have the Statue of Liberty. I'm hearing that opening there. But I feel like it's unconditional love again. Wishing upon a shooting star. With the pile 2 is talk about brilliant idea, and I feel like this is where things are coming into fruition. Again, this is where you're putting your energy, and I feel like this is why they're saying it's going to be effortlessly for you, because they're like, you know what? We see where you're putting your power. We see that your power. That's what but your energy. We see where you're sitting there and dedicating yourself, while you're trying to help others. You know what I mean? So it's just like you will keep growing in these avenues. You will grow where you put your energy. So keep moving forward. Sometimes we're like, oh, I don't see it. But, you'll see those videos they're showing, like, just because, they talk about trees. Trees is so significant. We have the celebration of the trees. They were talking that with Pesach before it started, with Passover. The prayer for the trees. But it's just like, just because we don't see the trees growing in the winter, we don't see their roots sprouting, getting deeper, so they can overcome, like, we had a huge ice storm in Ontario, and it's just like, oh, the poor trees that broke in that, and it's just like, they sprout like maybe 5 inches in the summer, or in the spring and summer. So it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just like, sometimes we can't see the growth to our visual eyes, but it's like, maybe you're growing internally, maybe you're growing spiritually, maybe you're growing in your arts that you don't even realize. You know what I mean? Your ability is getting stronger. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people are going to sit there and discourage you because they're jealous they don't have the ability. Let's just be plain blank and forward. People don't want to see you grow because they wish it was them. You know what I mean? And I hate saying that because I'm not that type of person, but it's just like, more and more I'm seeing like, certain people, they will always discourage you, but you know what? They'll be the first person in line with their hand out when they see the rewards you're getting. You know? Nobody wants to work, but they want the rewards. Oh, I want this. Well, you're not working for it. You know what I mean? You're not putting your energy into it. You're putting your energy into being lazy. So, you know what I mean? It's like you only grow where you water it. Basically what she's doing. Being patient. Isn't that what we do with a garden? We sit there and make sure that we have prime soil. It's, we sit there and put our coffee grounds, our eggshells. We sit there, we till it. We put some Miracle Grow in there. We make sure that our soil is prime for when we plant our seedlings, that we'll sit there and, we'll have a beautiful garden. It's just like that. You will see prosperity where in your garden, in your personal life, wherever you want to grow is where you put your energy. Are you taking the time and nurturing to sit there? Flowers all year. It's the same thing. You will have beautiful flowers, whatever it is that you're sitting there trying to, you know what I mean? Where are you putting your energy into it? You know what I mean? That's where you will grow. It takes time. It takes patience. I know for especially myself and, my friends, it's like, it feels like time is ticking and it's getting so fast. You know what I mean? But it's just like, there's still time. I keep hearing Judge Judy where she talks about Grandma Moses. If you don't make it in your 20s, you'll make it in your 30s. You'll make it in your 30s, you'll make it in your 40s. And she's like, Grandma Moses became a renowned painter at 80. You know what I mean? So I know I have to sit there and clock myself, and it's like, listen, you know what? I always hear Judge Judy. It's like, it will happen, And it's not for accolades or anything like that. It's just so I can put my full-time energy into healing and doing what I love. You know what I mean? That's where my ultimate goal is, to be so financially stable and free that I could do the things that I love and want and not have to answer to anyone's bell. You know what I mean? Only answer to Yahweh and Yeshua. That's it. Answer to my kids. Well, I don't so much answer to my kids, but you don't get what I'm saying. Putting my energy into my kids, So, it's just like, be patient with yourself. May the universe bless you good. I hope you guys love this daily carpool.